Welcome to Project Real Talk. My name is Chris Rogers. I'm your host, and our guest today is Katarina Mlekuz, and she is a dating coach for men, okay, which is interesting. She specializes in advising men on how to be successful and how to be gentlemen and how to do it right. So we'll just get right into it, okay? How are you doing, Katarina?
I'm wonderful, Chris. How are you?
Lovely, lovely. So tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are.
So my name is Katarina Mlekuz, like you said. I'm actually a certified life relationship coach as well. But the niche I find myself really excelling in is the male dating coaching. I have accreditations, so I did go to UBCO for 6 years. So I have a master's in my psychology degree. And I consider myself an expert because I have logged in 10,000 plus hours in online classes and also being taught by my fellow gurus and coaches as well.
Lovely, lovely. So where are you from originally?
Originally Slovenia, and I came to Canada at 13.
Wow. So you've been here a while.
Yeah.
So you're Canadian. It's safe to say you're Canadian.
Sure.
Okay, so it's rather interesting for me in what you do. Again, you're coaching men. So how did you get into this initially? How did you get into it?
Well, I got into it because I've been single for 7 years. Pardon me. And what I was realizing was I was giving my all. I basically created this job for myself because there aren't bad men per se, just men that were not showing adult behaviors. So I got into this because I was not happy with what I was seeing out in the dating world. I didn't feel like they were doing it right. And it was really frustrating.
And it's from personal experience.
100%. And then taking it out on the streets and asking my girlfriends, it was like we were always going on first dates, but never wanting to give a second. And then we would all get together. Oh my God, how was your date? Can you believe he did this, he did that? So we quite often, subjects were coming up that we think, oh, a man should know this, but they weren't knowing simple things. So I started getting frustrated with the dating pool, realizing I was putting my best foot forward, but I was not being met with the same. And it wasn't necessarily I was meeting or dating bad men. They were just showing poor behaviors. So insert me, and I just tweak those behaviors now.
So in that vein, what are the first things you kind of get the men to understand from your perspective? Because once you take them on as a client, obviously they have certain flaws or shortcomings. What's that process? If you can walk us through it a little bit.
So I get to know who they are fundamentally. A misconception is that I'm a matchmaker. So in my industry, I have come to the nickname now Hitchette. I don't know if people are familiar with the movie Hitch with Will Smith.
Yeah,
but the premise of that movie is that he's a dating doctor and he's helping guys be more successful in attracting that quality, a woman, to them. So the first question I ask, what is your intention? What is your intention entering the dating world, yeah? Are you looking for I like to call them golden walking partner, so someone to be your companion for life? Are you looking for just to date a bunch of people? What is your exact intention in seeking this person? For marriage, for dating, right? Because when you have a clear intention as to what you want, it kind of cuts out all the BS that you don't want.
All the fluff, all the extra
stuff. Of course.
Stuff.
And then another thing I ask, we talked about this as well, was making sure someone's boxes are checked. So for example, let's say you want to date me, but you don't have the job that you want, you don't have the money in the bank that you want, you're just not happy or settled with where you currently are in your life. How's that going to work? So I could be the most imperfectly perfect woman for you, but if you're not happy with where your life is, it's not going to work from the get-go. So things of that nature, getting to know who they are, what they want, what are some past traumas maybe that they have dealt with, because a lot of men, women too, but I can only speak because I'm a woman dealing with men.
Absolutely.
I feel a lot of them broadly paint women with the same brush. So for example, perhaps something didn't work out for them before, and then they clump everybody like this. You have to treat everyone with a brand new slate, yeah?
Yes.
So meeting me, if you have trauma from women in your past being a certain way, I'm a new woman, so you cannot judge me the same that you might have judged them.
Yeah, don't let Paulette pay for Patty. I get
Exactly,
it. I get it.
yeah.
So, what are the biggest misconceptions you think men come in when, like, as a man, you come into the world and you're dating and you from a teenage, whatever, up to adulthood? What are the biggest misconceptions you think men have when they approach the whole dating concept? What are the biggest things?
Like what they're doing wrong?
Yes.
Not putting
Or
in
what they should do right.
Okay,
as
for
opposed to-
example, Chris, if you're going for your dream job,
Yes.
how would you portray yourself?
In the best light possible.
Thank you kindly. So when dating a woman of high quality, come to me as if you're interviewing for the job of your life, yeah?
Yeah.
So treat me as if you're going for your dream job. If I'm your dream woman in your head, come to me prepared. Come to me dressed well. Come to me feeling good about yourself, yeah? A lot of people I notice, for example, if you and I have a date this day and your day is not going that well, I would appreciate you to reach out to me, cancel with me, and perhaps just say, you know what, Katarina, I'm not really feeling at the top of my game today. Could we possibly reschedule? I don't want a man to show up when he has had a crappy day, you know, things aren't going his way, because then it's just a reflection. His day is going to go on me. So do whatever you need to do to prepare yourself. For me, if I have a great date in the evening, I will go for a run. I will meditate. I will make Katarina feel as happy as I can be. And then when I feel the best me, I'm going to present that to my date.
That's what you want to do, and I think we all aware of that. I mean, when people are going on a job, of course, some people know to put on a blazer, put on a clean shirt, put on a tie. We know that, but when it comes to dating, it's a totally different approach because we just kind of lackadaisical. We kind of laid back a little bit, and
it's lazy. You can call it all fancy words you'd like, but to me, that is lazy.
Semantics, okay.
So for me today,
It's fair.
you know, I took this professionally. I dressed
Yes.
up. I looked nice for you. I showed up. This is how I would show up on a date. Now,
Yes.
many a time, I'm coming and the man is schleppy. Listen, you don't have to dress GQ, but if you're going to wear a shirt and jeans and sneakers, make sure that you look clean and well kept, you know?
what are some of the key principles? Like, do you deal with the exterior or the interior first?
First is the interior, because what is on the inside will show on the outside. So earlier you had mentioned, like, oh, Katarina, if I came to you and with stains on my shirt and this and that, that is your first impression that you're showing me. So I would just ask, Chris, are you taking this seriously? Would you like to find a high quality woman? Because if you can't even show up for me and put on a nice, decent, clean shirt, is this what you're representing to the world? So it starts from within, yeah?
But you're gentle, right, when you say that?
Yes, I'm very gentle.
Okay.
But you're trying to, I'm gentle, but with a real hand. I'm
Yes.
going to tell you what perhaps you don't want to hear.
Because I'm coming to you to help to improve myself. So I can't come in thin skin. I can't come and be like, oh, I don't like the way you said that, you know.
No, and my style isn't for everybody. I am very sweet, yes, but I'm very blunt. I'm literally going to look at you and say, did you want to know the truth? Do you want to know why you're single? Because clearly what you have done up until this point hasn't been working for you, yeah? So you came to me for a reason, so I'm not going to blow smoke up your, you know what? I'm just going to tell it like it is.
Absolutely, I feel it.
And I also feel like I'm there to bring out the best in the men. I want to make it really clear, this is not me going and bashing men. You know, I love men. I just want them to set themselves up for success. And when you know better, you can do better, right? And a lot of men, Chris, they simply don't know. They don't know what's acceptable and what's not. It's actually mind-blowing. So,
But don't wait, hold on though. Let me push back a little bit on that. We are the so-called hunters. We're the one who practice, you know, going after women, because most women, let's be honest, don't have to really go after men.
but it's the way you guys are coming at us
But
that I
don't-
have a problem
It's
with.
the way we do it.
Very aggressively out of the gate, you know, showing your sexual aggression. This is not how you get to know a high-quality woman.
So what are the most essential, let's say, qualities and traits that a man should employ or possess in order to be successful?
Okay, number one, kindness. So I quite often do my little surveys. So I'll take a question to 100 women or 100 men, depending on who I'm gearing the question for. But for women, so I took, out of 100 women, I asked this question: what is the number one key quality that you look for in a man? They said to me, Katarina, kindness is key. I don't care if he's rich, if he's handsome, if he's this, if he's not inherently kind, looks will fade. Money means nothing if he's a dink at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yes.
So kindness is key, and then I would follow with a second with humor
Okay.
and compassion.
Should I take notes here? Or?
I think you're doing quite well.
I'm doing okay. All right. No, because
You're doing better than most, if I may be so bold, Chris.
It's
Like I literally train men to possess your qualities, and I know to you it comes naturally. You're very at ease with a woman, but it also comes from your raising. Yeah.
I think being raised by women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so because I was raised by women.
And in getting to know you in the brief time I have,
Yeah.
that is your number one clear quality. You're very respectful of women. The way you speak too is very inclusive of us, and you're very inquisitive with women. To me, you have been so far.
You're being very kind. Thank you so much. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at myself again. But thank you for that. Thank you for that. So when it comes to communication, how high on the scale is communication? Because you mentioned a few things there. I didn't hear communication. Because communication is key for me at the very least.
What do you want? I'm noticing a lot of breakdowns in relationships because people are too concerned with being polite or hurting people's feelings. Now, perhaps this is a reason that I'm single. I'm very verbal with what I want, yeah? And when I set a dating intention, I stick to it. Meaning, for example, I'm 46 years old. My children have grown. I would like a companion that can just go and travel the world with me, have fun, you know. So for me, when I'm dating, I wouldn't necessarily date, no, I wouldn't, not necessarily. I'm not going to date a man with small children. That is not in line. Yes, I know that might sound harsh. However,
Can I push back just a little bit?
Yes, you may.
On the flip side of that, what about men who don't want to date women?
100%, there's nothing wrong.
Or kids, for that matter.
That's perfectly fine. So that's why you set an intention, yeah? So, Chris, for example, with my clients, I say like this. When I'm asking them, what kind of a woman do you want? So back in the 80s, I don't know if you're familiar with a movie called Weird Science. Do you remember that movie?
Kelly LeBrock. I don't know who else was in
there was two geeks.
They created her in a lab or something.
Yes.
I remember.
And so the premise of that movie was to close your eyes, put all the imperfectly perfect things you want in your perfect person, and focus on that. So they wrote in a bunch of things, and then they created such said woman. What is your weird science? So, for example, I know what my weird science is. It's a list of things that I'm not, my non-negotiables, so to speak.
Okay.
So when I date, I don't veer from my list. For example, you might call it shallow, but I'm very real with myself, yeah?
Yes.
I know what I want, so I set myself up for success in the dating world as well as with men.
Yes.
So I would like a man who is taller than me. He has certain attributes. He's funny. He doesn't have children of a small age. Now, why then in turn would I accept a date from a person that was 5'2" with 3 children under the age of 8? That is not matching my dating intention. Do you understand?
I understand.
So I honestly would say to everybody, have a list. Don't feel shallow. State exactly what you want.
But you're not going to pull out that list like on a date, right? It's just a mental list.
It's up here.
Okay, all right.
Chris, go in knowing
check,
what you want.
Just check. Be like, wait, hold on. You don't. That would be actually fun. That would be a good comedy.
And know who you are going into the date. Yeah?
Yes.
If you don't know who you are, you don't know what you want to attract. That's why it's for me, very important to be specific going in.
Yes. But I think a lot of people are afraid to go in and just be too specific or too express because it's you getting to know, you know that whole concept about being on your best behavior, right? Mm-hmm. You don't want to show your real side. I believe 98%, and that's just a personal belief. I don't know if it applies to anyone else. 98% of the time when we go out on dates, in the first 1 or 2 or even 3, you're meeting our representatives. Mm-hmm. The marketing department fabricated that representative. Mm-hmm. And again, going back to that phrase that I use, being on your best behavior. Mm-hmm. For me, I think in my personal life, 90-day, I call it a 90-day rule. And that, again, that's all from Chris's head.
Mm-hmm.
In 90 days, you tend to see the breakdown of that fabricated, version of yourself. And for me, I've always felt like if you put in so much energy into fabricating something that I would fall in love with or something that I would be enthralled and want to date, why didn't you take that energy and improve yourself. Like your real authentic self, not that fabrication, not that legend that's sitting in front of me that came from the figment of your imagination. And
bingo. So now do you understand why it's so important that I work with a man's this?
yes,
First,
absolutely.
I don't want to meet your representation or representative.
Representative,
I want to meet you.
Yeah.
Right? And I am noticing quite often people will get into these relationships. I call them single serving relationships and honeymoon stage. Yeah. Everything is great for 3 to 6 months, but that wasn't who the person was ever. They were, like you said, on your best behavior. Now I have a mindset. If I can't see you at your worst and accept you, and that's okay by me, I don't deserve to see you at your best. So screw with go away with the representations or representatives. Who are you truly?
You know what? I wish that people would get that, because I remember back in the days, and I'm saying back in the days because, I wouldn't call it a full catfish situation, but I've had one of those where, it was just.
And isn't that
I didn't
so
recognize her,
unfortunate?
man. She actually we set up a date, and we were gonna meet on this specific street at a bar, and I literally walked past her. She of course recognized me because my pictures, and that's leading into another question I want to ask you right after this. She literally walked past me, calls me on the phone, and she's like, "Chris, did you just walk by me?" That should have been, "Chris, you just walked by me," because of course you recognize me.
Of course.
I didn't recognize you because your pictures were, I think it was a good 15 to 20 years.
So she misrepresented
She
herself straight out of
misrepresented
the
herself.
gate.
And we went out, and I told her, I'm like, I hate to say it. I know we kind of connected like while we chatted on the phone, and that's why we set up this first date. But you don't look anything like your picture. And she's like, "I know." I'm like, "But
So did you get a why as to why she deceived you? Did you get the courage?
we
Because I know we touched upon this before.
we did.
Yeah.
Okay, so I asked her, I'm like, "Why? How old are these pictures?" And she's like, they're quite." I'm like, "No, give me a range." She's like, "One is 7." I don't think it was 7 years. I think it was more like 10. It was above. And we chat again. I didn't want to be a dick. So I decided,
See, you're
what?
very sweet, Chris, if I may stop you right there. For me, I'm a very kind, considerate person, but this person has just wasted my time. So rather than being polite, were they polite to you by roosing you like that?
She wasted my time.
Exactly. So I would talk to that and say, "You know what, sweetheart, I'm sure you're a lovely person, but you just wasted my time. You came into this lying to me, so we're done."
Well, needless to say, it was not, the second date didn't happen.
Yeah.
But I did. It was the first time actually, and I felt so. When it comes to, it speaks to the next question, authenticity. When it comes to that, what do you teach your clients about being authentic? Just like we hit on, what do you have as specific things that you say to them and how to be authentic? Like being yourself, of course, but being really true, letting the person see you. What do you teach your clients in that?
You know what I tell my gentlemen to come and hire me? I say, look for your buddy lover. How you would treat, okay, so think of your best buddy in life, Chris, as a guy.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be so awesome if you could find him in a girl? And just have that
Yeah,
freedom to
yeah.
tell him anything, just like the way we're even sitting here and talking. We're not pretending to be anything other than ourselves.
Yes.
So this is what I find very frustrating with people. Why go into a date pretending to be someone else? When someone shows you who they are, believe in them. So to loop back to that lady, a lot of people will feel angry by that situation, and of course you had every right to. For me being the empathetic one and the psychologist, I would then in turn ask her why. Why did you feel the need that you had to do this? And how did you think this was going to play out for you? You started out in a lie. Did you think the date was going to continue? Like, how did you think this was going to serve you well? So to me, it's finding the person for you that accepts your weird. Finding that person, and if I'm showing you everybody that I'm not, how's that going to work out? Right?
Yeah, I think when you look for a partner, it's good to find certain similarities. It's good to find, how should I say it, honesty. And you actually, do you have specific questions like one should ask? Do you coach your clients in specific questions, especially something that aligns with their not expectation, but what they're looking for, intentions?
Of course.
Give us a few samples of those. What are those questions? What are a few of those things that?
What I
Give
tell
me
men to
two
ask women
examples.
on
Yes,
the first
yeah,
date.
two.
Well, I broached it with you the other day, and you said, Katarina, that's quite bold. I'm a very bold person. I don't ask questions that I'm not willing to answer myself. So one of the things is, what is one of your selling features? What is a quality that would make me want to date you? How would you complement my life? So for me, my intentions going in is I would like to find that solid king, as I call him, like my power couple. So therefore, chemistry without compatibility, Chris, is nothing. I get a lot of clients that come to me, oh my God, the first date, it was fireworks. Oh, bing, 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 bing. Cool, but did you ask the important questions to line up with your intentions? So for me, I'm not dating just to date. I'm dating to find my companion, my golden walking partner. So then in turn, I ask like-minded questions. Yeah, what do you do on your free time? Everything down to how do you spend your money? What is your religious beliefs?
Oh, you get into finances?
Everything, Chris, for goodness sakes.
On the first date?
Why not? If not now, when? Be
Okay,
bold
no,
and
that's-
brave.
that's fair.
And you know what? You can ask anything, but it's how you deliver. So I'm not sitting there like an interview. Hey, bro, what do you make? What do you drive? No, not like that. But I'm assessing, are you happy within yourself first?
Yes.
Are you
That-
where
that's
you
smart.
need to be to accept me? Because if you're not where you need to be, I could be the most imperfectly perfect woman for you, and I'm exactly what you wanted on the list, but you're not going to see that because you're not happy and whole inside. And then you're just going to reflect that onto me. Yeah. So just ask questions that are important to you to ask. I feel like everyone is more focused on being polite than being real.
I like that. So you're saying on the first date, it's not so much what you ask, it's how
Of
you
course,
deliver.
it's all in delivery.
So I'll keep that in mind. But I want to ask you, when it comes to the way men approach women, what do you do specifically? And this question is, to me, is very important because it speaks to the whole dick pic heroes. I know guys who actually send dick pics to women. How do you address that?
So the number one thing I will speak to that men should never, never, never do, I cannot implore you enough not to do this, is to send schlong pics. So in my seminars, I have a catchphrase, schlong pics are wrong pics.
Wrong pics,
So I
got
took,
it.
again, you know, my little surveys. So I took this question to 100 women on the streets and people that I know. 95 out of 100 women, when receiving a big dick pic, they don't like it. Absolutely not. It actually feels quite abusive. We have not asked for such said picture. So to receive that, and quite often I joke it off, like, I don't care if you're David Beckham, a schlong pic is not attractive. What are you trying to accomplish by giving such a picture? So I'm going to talk a little bit, if I may, about a story.
Please do.
So back in the day, there was a lovely man. I'm going to call him Dick Pic Dave. Now, Dick Pic Dave was a beautiful person, absolutely wonderful. He had been wooing me for quite some time. It was a Sunday morning. I was drinking coffee. He starts messaging me, good morning, Katarina, how are you, blah, blah, blah. We come to a point where he says, Katarina, I would like to send you a picture. Right away, my intuition and coach spidey senses go up, to which I ask him 3 times over, David, what kind of a picture would you like to send me? Mind you, it's 7:30 in the morning and I'm drinking coffee. So he says, he keeps prefacing, oh, you're really going to like it. It's artistic. It's artistic. After about 10, 15 minutes of me asking him, okay, well, exactly is it PG-13? He kept saying to me, oh, yes, yes, yes. Finally, he sends me this dick pic. And again, at this point, this is the second one that I've already received. It's about 8 o'clock on a blessed Sunday morning. And this is what I'm getting as I'm drinking my coffee. So knowing that he was a good guy, because good guys do bad behavior sometimes. And I know we talked about this, and you're like, Katarina, they must know this is wrong. Chris, they don't know, because I'm telling you, Dick Pic Dave was the nicest guy ever. And when I asked him, David, what got in your head? Why did you do this? Do you know what he said to me? So David was part of a motorcycle group riding every Sunday. There was 10 guys in the group. 8 of them were single. 1 was divorced and 1 was married. So this is the group that he had asked this question. Hey guys, I really like this girl, Katarina. I want to impress her. How can I impress her? His friends told him, and I quote, Dave sent her a schlong pic. Chicks dig it. When he sent me this, I said, David, you're such a good man. What made you do this? He said, well, my friends. So honest to goodness, Chris, a lot of guys don't know that this is unacceptable. I know you sit here, we've talked about this, and you're like, how the heck do they not know? But they don't know. So you were raised by women, yeah, you told me, and your social structure. You don't have guy friends that send that. You're not really surrounded by men that do that. Therefore, exactly.
Probably I just don't know, but they don't speak about it.
Right. But Dave, if I may, he had shared with me, he had been a virgin till he was 30 years old. He was like a techie guy. So he was very socially awkward. He didn't have the history of dealing with high quality women to know what to do. Then he goes to his bros, all of which are single majority, and he's asking them what to do. Right? So then they tell him, send a dick pic, chicks dig it. And then I told him, I can assure you, chicks don't dig this, But a lot of them don't know that. Another one of my friends, I asked him quite bluntly, hey, Benny, do you send dick pics? And he's like, I have, yes. And I said, okay, why? Do you realize that women don't like that? He goes, oh, yeah, for sure. So one of the reasons he does it is for shock value, he told me. And also, it's a percentage game. So I said, explain this to me. So he said to me, Katarina, if I send a dick pic to 10 women, 9 of them might hate it and freak out at me. But guess what? There's one. It might work.
It's kind of sad.
It is very sad because as a woman, so you're okay with offending 9 women along the way just in hopes that one digs it?
Yeah.
So we have to change the culture.
So
here,
where do we find that balance, though? Where do we find that? How do we educate these men on how to conduct themselves with?
You speak into it. You speak into it, right? So a lot of women, they will just block it right away. They don't talk into it. Me, I always see everything as a learning opportunity. So I don't automatically jump on them because if I fight fire with fire, where's that going to get me? And we've talked about this. A lot of times you're like, Kat, you're so compassionate. I would have told the person where to go. But that is my job. If they don't know better, I'm here to get them to know better so they can do better. Yeah. So to us, it's common sense. To a guy that has never been on a proper date or isn't socially inclined, he doesn't know that, hun. There isn't a school for guys to go to, treat the woman like this, do this, woo her. Where do you learn these things? Even I'd like to ask you, where did you learn to successfully date? Or where did you learn to treat women with respect?
It's just by the women I was raised by.
Exactly.
It's one of those things that just started in a home, and that's what I kind of just continued with, pretty much.
So think of the men that had no woman example in their life.
Well, I'll beg to differ because I know some guys who were raised by good parents, and once they're out there in the world, they act. But that speaks to character, right?
But are people holding them accountable? So I think
maybe
a lot of the
not,
times
maybe not.
People continue with a certain behavior because no one calls them out.
I could go back to my childhood even and say I remember growing up and we'd go do really crazy shit as kids. And I came from a home where, there were punishment. And I remember the kids who had no curfew. I had curfews, right? I couldn't be out after dark. There were certain lines or boundaries. And the kids who had none, I noticed a couple of kids I grew up with, they could be gone for 2-3 days and their mother wouldn't even. I'm gone for like a few hours and my parents go nuts, right? Mm-hmm. So when I look at some of those guys and where they ended up, it's kind of interesting. Even if I grew up in a home where respect was ultimate, you had to give respect, otherwise you get your ass kicked. How do you address issues of rejection? So your clients, it's a legitimate
rejection is
one.
so revealing. Yeah,
rejection. So how do you advise them and how to
take it with grace and be better? So there's many men that will. I reject men on the daily, Chris. And I don't mean that from a megalomaniac, I'm so awesome and I have all these men throwing themselves at me. No. However, I get a lot of male attention. And when for example, they come at me and with nothing really of levity to say, just, hey, nice tits, nice ass, this. And then I will say to them, I'm sorry, is this how you speak to somebody? I'm a high quality woman. Or if they say to me, hey, I say, is for horses. Step up your game, Right off the bat, I'm seeing that you're lazy. You're not investing anything in me. So when it's established, I'm not interested. It's so funny how the narrative switches like this. So in the beginning, oh, Katarina, you're so beautiful. You're this, you're that. The minute I say, no, thank you, I'm not interested, how they attack. Number one, to what I say to that, thank you very kindly for showing me who you are. Because at any given moment, if I don't agree with you along our relationship lines, you're just going to attack me like that. So I would say to a man, take rejection gracefully and ask questions even, perhaps, you know?
So if I get rejected, I should be like, look, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being honest with.
Maybe 4 women down the road from this particular woman. Like, it's, how do I explain this? Rejection isn't always something that you're doing wrong. You're just not the person for them.
It could be one of those things where it just has nothing to do with you.
Exactly. Like, I'm an actress, I'll go up for a role. I had to learn very quickly rejection. It's not that I'm not good at my craft, but perhaps they wanted 5'9", blonde, blue-eyed. I'm 5'7.5", brunette and brown eyes. So that is the same analogy applied to dating, yeah? So rejection is part of the course, but it's how you take it and how you grow from that. That's it. Anything can be said, just in the right delivery.
So when it comes to men and how we approach, because I mean, I like to believe that men should be confident in how they approach and what they do, but some men are nervous because, you know, some guys are not confident in their outward appearance, or they may lack confidence mentally.
I work on that with men.
Yeah, what are the methods you use to
I get them to look in a mirror and go, who's the man? Who's the man? Because if you cannot believe in yourself, Chris, why would I sign up for you? Yeah? So if you're coming out into the world and, how do I explain this? I have insecurities too, but I don't lead with them. I go out knowing my best points and I sell those best points. Yeah? So you don't have to be the most in shape, or, I don't know how to explain this, like exactly on, but still be confident in who you are. Do you know what I mean?
Honestly.
Because you're selling yourself to me ultimately. So if you don't believe in you, why would I believe in you?
Okay, so when you have a guy and he has succeeded, you guided him to the point where he found someone and he's not
that's a
searching.
Process.
Yeah, how does that work?
Okay,
I want to get an understanding.
okay.
From consultation, meeting, working on him going out, employing the techniques and strategies, and then finding someone. That's a feather in your cap, of course. What happens after that?
So first of all, before I send them into the wild, so to speak,
Yes.
they virtually date me.
Wait, hold on.
So we go on a
Really?
we go on a mock date.
Practical field.
100%.
Oh, I like that.
Yes, I work. I style them. I
Yes.
help style them.
Yes.
I go into their dating profiles. For
Yes.
example, a lot of my guy clients, when they've shown me their dating profiles, no shirt, sitting in front of their car with golden chains. To which I ask them this: so, am I dating you, your chest, or your car? What are you trying to represent with these kind of things? Yeah. So I help them from beginning to end represent the best version that is them, but authentically them.
Yeah.
So we do everything from going on virtual dates. I will text them. Okay, so I will say, so pretend I'm the woman you're about to date. How would you text me? And it's very important. So I give them little tips and tricks. So for a woman, what we want is to know that we're significant to that person. So if a guy has asked me out on a Friday, if a guy asks me out on a Friday, but our date isn't till a week from that Friday, I want to know, what is he doing in between? Is he checking in on me? A simple good morning, a simple good night. These are fundamentals that matter to a woman that men are not investing the time or common sense to do. Okay. So I show them all of these little things, Chris, that they might not think are valuable or important to do. For example, how many times have you sent someone to text a girl that you like and then you don't hear anything? And the response back is, oh, I'm so sorry, I was so busy. I call bullshit. You make time for what is important to you, yeah?
That is true.
So that is a big common theme that I hear too. Or really great guys. Like, I'm not just here to tell the men what they should be doing better. It's also on the woman's side. I just happen to work with men because they're easier for me to work with, if I'm being honest.
Is that really so? You
really,
find
for
men...
me, yes.
So let me ask you a question about this. you've tried working with women before, and how many clients, how deep did you get before you realized, oh, this is not where I want to be?
So I life and relationship coach as well. With life coaching, I
Meaning
have
you do
coached,
couples?
yes, and just other issues as well, like suicide. People don't feel good about themselves. No, I've dealt with women on that platform. I find them very easy to coach. But a woman coming to me and saying, Katarina, help me date, help me find that man for me, they don't listen to me. I find women...
Why you think that? Why you think men are more receptive? Is it because we struggle more? I mean, because we're the hunters, so to speak, for lack of a better phrase. Why you think women? Because you feel...
Okay, if I may be so bold.
Expand on it, yes.
From what I've seen and what has come to me.
Yes.
Women that I have dealt with are very competitive. I'm not your competition here. I'm trying to help you. I find them very combative. For example, the ones I've dealt with, don't take responsibility for what they're doing or how they're coming across. Everything is the guy's fault. And then I'll speak to that. Well, Katarina, they'll fight me. Well, you came to me for my opinion, and you came to me for guidance and advice.
They don't want to hear what you have to say.
No.
So they don't want to be held accountable.
No.
They don't want to accept responsibility.
Correct.
It's always isn't that a form of narcissism?
Correct.
Okay. And that's another episode. But yeah, it's interesting.
But the men that are coming to me, they're serious about this. They're not just... the type of men I am getting a lot are like techie guys. So I find myself working a lot in the Puget Sound. Guys that are working for Google, the top 1% guys. That their boxes are checked. They have the car, they have the money that they want, but they have no social skills, Chris. They have none. So they're looking at me like... very pliable creatures. Please, Katarina, help me. They're not there to combat me. Everything that I say to them, because ultimately, if I'm being honest, they were drawn to me for a reason. A lot of my clients that come to me initially wanted to date me. They were attracted to the essence that is me. The minute that I tell them, okay, I'm not interested in you. This is not going to go anywhere. So rather than dating me, hire me. Let me help you, because what you want isn't necessarily Katarina. You want the essence that is Katarina, the qualities that I have. So when initially that rejection, I say, hey guys, you're not going to get me, but isn't it great? Let's find you me in your form. They're so willing, Chris. I get no pushback, none whatsoever, none.
Some people would call it a Jedi mind trick, but... I said some people, not me. I'm not going there. So when it comes to traditional gender roles, do you address that when it comes to you advising your clients? Do you encourage them to be masculine, more masculine, or to touch onto their feminine? Like, how do you...
Just be well-rounded.
Just be well-rounded.
Be a well-rounded man. So to me, an alpha man is not a man who bangs on his chest and, makes a statement, I am here. If I may be so bold, you're an alpha man. What you have shown me off camera...
hold on, let me just get the dirt off my shoulders.
But you've been able to show me your vulnerability, and you come across as a manly man. However, you're in touch with your vulnerable side. You talk about things, or at least with me, you were able... I asked you the questions by which then in turn for you to go down that rabbit hole and open up to me. Yeah? So then in turn I would ask you a question too. Why was it so easy for you to open up to me, per se, but on a date you wouldn't find yourself going down that intimate conversation?
Who should pay on a first date? Very controversial, as you said. Who should pay on a first date?
So I feel, rule of thumb, whoever asked whomever out should pay.
Agreed.
In my heart of hearts, I will be honest with you. If you asked me for the date, I would love it if you showed me some initiative. Hey, girl, I've got that. However, then in turn, my character, if we go for a second date, I would right away grab for the bill and then show you in return that I value you as well, and then I would pay. So I feel it should be even, Steven. And I feel like any woman that expects or goes into a date, because this is so funny. I have girlfriends that leave the house that go on dates without their wallets.
So arrogant.
Chris, it's shameful. I'm
So
embarrassed
arrogant.
for them. You know what I
Wow.
say? I think, oh my God, what if something happened and the guy did the same? Would you guys be washing dishes in the back? Who would pay the bill? So never assume. So to touch upon this too, why don't people simply ask? Simply ask. Yeah. So in the moment when the bill comes, hey Chris, would you like to go double Dutch? And then in that moment you can say, hey girl, no, I got you. To then when I can respond, you know what? If there's a next time, I'd love to catch you next time too.
What advice do you give your
It
clients
also
with
is
regards
quite
to that?
cultural, Chris. Like for me, I come from Slovenia, and a lot of men in my culture, they like to pay because it makes them feel emasculated. So if we went out in my country and I were to pull out my wallet, literally all the men's heads would go like this and look, oh my God, what's wrong with that guy that he can't pay? It's making the man look that he can't take care of his woman. So they don't like that. I remember even once I said, well, I would like to pay though. And then he said, okay, deal. You can put the money in my wallet, but when we go out, I'll be the one to pull it out so everyone can see that I am the
So
man.
is that whole cultural taboo? It's like you giving the man face. Wow.
And I don't
is
mind
that
to do that if he
Europe,
needs
do you
that.
think that's exclusive to Europeans? Or actually, I think in Asia, isn't it like that in Asia? I think I spoke to an Asian friend. I can't remember where he's from. And he was like, yeah, as a man, if the girl is going to contribute, you can't do it there
Never.
because it's looked.
I lived in
Wow.
Tokyo for 6 months. Not once did I ever see the man not to pay. Never. For a woman to open the wallet,
Yeah, it's shameful.
in that it's shameful.
Does it also invite other men to go up to the woman and be like, hey, if he's not taking care, I'm sure, I mean, from a cultural sort of perspective, I would assume that's kind of one of those things.
Well, it's the measure of the man in the public that they can't even take care of you to pick up the bill. How is he going to then take care of you in life? Is their mindset? No, that is not my mindset. I think chivalry goes both ways. So you asked me earlier about the gender roles. We
Yes.
didn't really talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
We kind of skipped that.
So I'm a very spicy, independent, bold woman. But I also know I'm a woman and I feed into my woman energy.
Yes.
And I actually, for me, I would love to meet a man that taps into my natural subservient side.
Okay. I've dated people, girls, who
Keyword girls, not women.
who had this whole masculine energy thing. It is the biggest turnoff to me.
Of course.
Because I think a woman will be able to get more and create more harmony in a relationship if she embraces her femininity. You know,
I tell a woman, you have your womanly wiles for a reason. Now, don't use them to manipulate a man, but use them to your favor.
what kind of guidance do you give guys when it comes to their online dating profile and how to improve it to become or to look better to the opposite sex?
Be yourself, be authentic, show the real you.
But what I just gave you was me being authentic, shirtless.
No,
shop.
Chris, that is you in a moment, but that is not you every day. Do you
Oh, so
walk
show
around
more
the
of your
street?
personality,
Of course.
not the activity so much. All right. What about sunglasses? Is it okay to wear sunglasses?
In one photo, but
In one
they
photo,
say
but-
the eyes are the...
Windows to the soul.
Thank you so kindly.
Okay.
So when I see a man that is blocking me from his eyes, the first thing I say to them, what are you hiding? Show me your eyes. And smile more. So
Okay.
many are not smiling. And also I ask, why do you feel inclined? So you go fishing, it was a hot day, okay, fine. You can have one picture with no shirt on. But why then in turn are you showing 6 or 7? A lot of the dating profiles I'm coming up, like looking at, it's not a representation of who they are. They're leading with their egos. You're showing me, for example, a lot of men are showing no shirts. If I may be so bold, you don't have any business showing that. You don't have a 6-pack. You don't have an 8-pack. What are you trying to accomplish? Or showing pictures of you sitting on top of your car. Am I dating you or am I dating your car? So I feel that they're using them as ploys to show what they have to catch you
But
in
doesn't
some
it
way.
work though? I mean, if men are using it, doesn't it work to a certain degree? Because if a guy, let's say I put up a
Really,
Pinto.
it's not working because
But-
they're single and they're coming to me saying, help me.
That's fair, but if I may make this argument, if I put up a Volkswagen or I put up a Bentley or a Range Rover, what sort of response would I get? It wouldn't be the same response.
Again, Chris, it's your intention. So do you want to date the girls that only are looking at you because you have a Bentley? So I would actually challenge you, put a Pinto, put a Volkswagen. That's who you're going to...
That's who you want, actually.
That's who you want.
You don't want... So, okay, you put the Bentley and you get 2,000 likes. You put the Volkswagen and you get one.
That's
and you're
okay,
like,
because
that's
that
the one.
one is money in the bank. That one, so you just said you get 2,000 with the Bentley, but that's the one that you're always going to be paying, perhaps, because she's looking at your car. Oh, he can afford it. But the one that's picking you, you have a Volkswagen. I don't know how to explain. To me, that's real.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I respect that.
Okay, so how do you advise your clients on exercising chivalry and confidence? Because there's a difference, right? Sometimes it can get
two
mixed
separate
up.
things.
How do you coach them on navigating those two areas?
I think they're two separate things altogether. So confidence, a lot of people tell me...
Without coming across as arrogant, because some women...
Confidence is just a belief in yourself. So that's the thing that before I put you into the dating world, are you confident? Do you love yourself? Because if you don't, those things are going to show up when you're dating. Chivalry is a whole different subject. And I believe chivalry doesn't just lay on the shoulders of the man. Chivalry goes both ways, I believe. And a lot of women attack me on this.
Yep.
So you want that king to treat you so well and pick you up and do this and pay the bill and blah, blah. But what are you bringing as a woman to his table to deserve such behavior? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So where has it been along the lines that men have to do this and women have to do this? Like, if you want to be treated a certain way, shouldn't you be willing to give that behavior as well? So like you said to me, I love for the man to step up and pay for me for the first date and come and pick me up and dress very nicely because he's showing me effort. But then doesn't he deserve that on date number 2, reciprocated?
I believe, yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I feel a lot of, like, to me, even this conversation sometimes, man versus woman, is uncomfortable because we're both failing each other on both sides. I have met so many nice guys, Chris, really, and they're like, Katarina, these women want me to pay their bills. They're looking for a baby daddy, this and that. And these are really good guys. They don't deserve that kind of a behavior either. So to that talking point, I really wish people would stop screwing around with each other. Why not the people with the pure intentions? You stick in your lane, the fuck boys and the fuck girls and the sugar babies and daddies, you stick in that lane. But find out who the person is from the get-go. Determine that straight away. And that's where dating intentions are so helpful.
When it comes to your clientele, what would the success rate? What are success stories, I should say, that you have that you can wear as a proud feather in your cap, based on people that you've coached successfully and who went on to, I guess, earn the ultimate prize. Absolutely.
So in the last 8 years that I've been practicing, 7 of my clients got married, and I was invited to all 7 weddings. And it wasn't the marriage so much itself. Of course, that's the ultimate that you want people, if that's what they so want. But it was the women saying to me, Katarina, if it wasn't for my guy finding you, he would not be the man that he is today. So to me, that is like the ultimate badge, so to speak, or long-sustaining relationships. Like, to me, it's not successful if I've worked with you for a year and you're not in a successful, happy relationship for you. To me, I'm failing at my job.
What impact you think your work has had on the dating lives of men, and what do you want to add that you think would help the overall coaching that you do in the lives of men and making them successful and getting that whatever they're looking for?
What I want to see is, and this goes above just men, I want dating to be less daunting for men and women alike. For my men specifically, I don't want them to leave feeling bad about themselves, taken advantage of. I want them to feel confident, and I want the best them to show, be it in dating or not. What I do goes above dating.
In life, your life coach as well.
In life, yeah. So ultimately, I want my guys to feel good about themselves and feel worthy and deserving of that woman that's going to treat them. Now, here's the kicker, okay? We talked about a lot what guys should do, I want my men also to be honored. So I want them to pick diligently. And what I wish to really push, don't be scared, guys, to ask the hard
the tough
questions.
How else would you know?
How else are you going to know?
Yes.
And talk about those things that are uncomfortable. Don't leave them to the last. Like, who's going to pick up the bill? Let's talk about that straight out of the gate. So there's not all this uncomfortableness going in, you know?
Is it fair to ask on the first date, would you sign a prenuptial agreement?
100%, why not?
That's fair.
If your intention is to marry somebody,
Yes.
is that not of so relevance to you?
It is very important.
See, to me, I never get offended.
Is the first
Nothing
date
wrong.
appropriate?
Well, why not?
Okay.
If not now, when? Well, are you going to be talking, oh, the weather, oh, this or that? To me, I would have so much respect. Hey, Katarina, so let's say
But it's the way, wait, hold on.
you're
It's the way
woman
you do
for
it.
me, yeah. It's all about your delivery.
It's the way you do it.
Right. So maybe not the first. I don't know.
What if
it's
you
about
ask him-
timing, though? Like how would you broach that subject? So
What's
hey,
your idea on
Katarina,
prenuptial agreement?
Are you? Well, you can just boom hit that. Chord. No. But hey, girl, are you open to marriage? Like you've been married once. Would you be open to a marriage again?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. That is my goal. That's for myself personally. Yes, very much.
Thank you so much. We had an amazing conversation. And for the audience, you guys, I just want to thank you for subscribing. If you find any value whatsoever in this conversation, please subscribe, like, share, tell your friends, tell everyone. Project Real Talk. I'm your host, Chris Rogers, and I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Katarina, thank you. And like I ask each and every one of my guests, would you come back?
100%. Over and over and over.
Promise?
Again.
Pinky
100%.
swear? Pinky swear?